Now, the pro-net zero group, the Conservative Environment Network, can boast precisely half of backbench Conservative MPs as part of their ranks. 133 have signed up to their parliamentary caucus. Meanwhile, the Net Zero Scrutiny Group on the other side claims that 58 MPs, over one-fifth of Conservative backbenchers, have signed up to their caucus. The growing size of these two groups within the Parliamentary Conservative Party comes at a time of much awaited energy security strategy, which has been delayed into next month. The arguments within the Conservative Party are real on the wisdom of net zero, the desirability of British natural shale gas or onshore wind farms, and who funds our nuclear expansion. Well, who better to talk through these issues now than John Penrose, the Conservative MP and a leading member of the Conservative Environment Network. Welcome to the programme, John. I suppose it will come as a surprise to some people that the Conservative Environment Network has more MPs signed up to it within your party than the Net Zero Scrutiny Group. Have you been a bit quiet?
I don't know if we've been quiet or not. I also don't think it's quite as much of a split as you're describing. I think that even those of us who are strongly committed to net zero, and I'd certainly be one of them, we all want to get to net zero in the least costly, most pragmatically sensible way of doing it. And the bit which I think distinguishes Conservatives right the way across the party from some other political groupings is we don't want to take the sort of the hair shirt, if it isn't hurting, it isn't working route to net zero. We want to find a sensible way through all this. And there are probably 101 different ways of getting to net zero by 2050. Our problem is choosing the ones that are not going to completely bankrupt the country or wreck our economy at the same time. And that's the thing which I think probably all sides of the Conservative Party would agree on, not just the Conservative Environment Network, but the Net Zero Scrutiny Group as well.
So potentially a greater sense of unity, less division than might be made out in the media. Although if that's the case, this energy strategy, this energy security strategy, does seem to have been delayed. The Prime Minister at the start of the month said it would be out in days. Now it's coming out next month, or so we're told. Big issues to be addressed there, whether or not it's fracking, onshore wind, or indeed a particular stickler, the funding of nuclear power. Do these not show divisions within the party?
Well, I think they show proper debate, yes, absolutely, but it's about how, not if, we get to the decarbonisation route that we've got to get to. But yes, you're right. There will be, not just today, but all the way through between here and 2050, there will be ongoing debates about what the best technologies are, what the best routes are, what's the least costly way of getting there. And the thing about it is that because all these technologies are changing all the time, because they're developing, they're getting better, actually the right answer today may be different from the right answer in 3 years' time and the right answer 3 years ago, because different technologies move forward, others fall back, some get cheaper. If you'd asked people 10 years ago to guess what the price of different forms of energy would be today, most people would have got it completely wrong. And most people did get it completely wrong and thought that wouldn't have never have guessed that, for example, offshore wind would be anything like as cheap as it is today. It's completely outstripped everybody's expectations. And so I think what everybody is concerned about, and the debates will be ongoing, is not to make any sort of economy-size bets. We need to make sure that we are trying to roll with these technologies as they develop over time.
I suppose the issue here with not making any huge bets is that we do need a huge amount of energy. Reportedly, the Prime Minister wants to build between 6 and 10 new nuclear power stations, something that will require an enormous amount of upfront investment. And apparently the Chancellor is more wary there. John Penrose, do you fall more, therefore, on the Chancellor's side or the Prime Minister's side of this reported argument about stumping up the cash for new nuclear power stations, which will, of course, take years to build?
So I'd actually make it even broader than that. I think that the question we've all got to ask ourselves is, new nuclear is almost certainly part of the mix, absolutely right. But given the fact that at the moment it's a comparatively expensive form of energy and you can't just whistle up a new nuclear power station, they take, as you rightly said, years to build, because it's quite expensive, we're going to need some of it. But if there are other cheaper forms of energy as well, then we should probably have more of those other cheaper forms of energy first and then we'll probably need some nuclear to top it up. And the question, which I suspect, I'm not part of the discussions between the Chancellor and the Prime Minister on this, but I suspect that what they are trying to work out is how much is enough and how much is too much of the varying different kinds in order to minimise the cost to you and me, households and the businesses that actually have to foot the bills when our energy bills drop on the mat or come through on the email in future.